Hi everyone, I'm Reagan.
And I'm Ryan, and today we want to walk you through one of our biggest releases of 2025, the C4 Tactical.
This is a completely new category for us, the first in the C4 collection, and it represents a ground-up case build unlike anything we've done before.
The C4 sits in a unique space. You could call it a dive watch, but its design philosophy leans more towards a true tactical operator's tool. This watch was born out of feedback from hundreds of existing military personnel wearing our watches out in the field. We took this feedback and held multiple interviews with active duty military operators to dial in the exact features that we wanted to leverage in this watch. This resulted in a fully loaded, insanely durable, incredibly loomed beast of a solar-powered watch. The most distinctive feature is the 4 o'clock crown. When screwed down, it sits flush with the case, so there's no digging into your wrist during wear. It's subtle, but it's a huge comfort upgrade for field use.
Like many other Vaer watches, we wanted the C4 Tactical to be grounded in real military history. The main inspiration is the Benris Type 1, a watch first issued to US Navy SEALs and Special Forces during the Vietnam War. The Department of Defense created strict specs in the early 1970s for a watch that had to be tough, simple, and reliable in the field, with heavy water resistance and a case built for abuse. It was used by covert units, CIA operatives, and special operators who needed gear they could trust in the harshest conditions. That ethos of form following function is what we've carried forward into the C4. Like the Type 1, it's bead-blasted for low reflection, engineered for durability, and stripped down to the essentials. But unlike the mechanical movements of the 1970s, which, while tough, were far less accurate and required frequent servicing, the C4 uses a solar-powered movement. That means greater accuracy, zero maintenance on batteries, and a feature set that's vastly more advanced while still honoring the original design DNA. Additionally, the 4 o'clock crown and 3D printed lume markers are modern updates on the same core mission, making a watch that puts utility first and foremost.
Our new C4 collection includes two distinct models, DLC Black and Steel. Reagan will be doing a deep dive into each design later in the video, and I'm going to start off with the specs and features of the collection. In terms of dimensions, we have a 41.5mm diameter stainless steel case with a 48.5mm lug-to-lug and a 12.8mm thickness. It's a substantial watch, which was intentional, as this was meant to be worn in the field by operators, first responders, or anyone who wants something with real presence, durability, and legibility. It wears larger than many of our past models, but with the flush crown design, it still sits comfortably, even under gear. The case includes a flat, scratch-resistant sapphire crystal and is rated to a burly 200-meter water resistance, so you can take it into any aquatic environment with no worries. For the first time ever, we've incorporated a recessed 4 o'clock screw-down crown. This is a huge step toward comfort in the field. Whereas a 3 o'clock crown has the potential to dig into the back of your wrist during certain usage, a 4 o'clock crown is totally out of the way. We've also shaved down the crown to near flush with the case so that it disappears during wear. In order to expand the potential of this watch being used as a tool, we've included a highly functional unidirectional bezel. We chose a 12-hour bezel with a 20-minute graduated portion due to the wide variety of functions it can serve, including tracking elapsed minutes, tracking elapsed hours, and tracking a second time zone. As with all of our watches, this collection has 20mm lugs, which means they're compatible with all rubber, nylon, and leather straps. In terms of colorways, we have a DLC coated black model and a steel model. The DLC coating offers superior hardness and wear resistance. For the first time ever, we're offering both of these pieces with bead-blasted cases. Bead blasting gives the watch a matte, non-reflective surface. Every edge is flattened to kill reflections, which is an essential detail in tactical applications. Even the steel bezel has been bead blasted before being painted black, creating a seamless, low-profile look. Inside, we've used the same solar-powered movement that our existing line uses. This means 6 hours of sunlight gives you 6 months of reserve, and the watch can be charged by lamplight, ambient light, and even candlelight. For us, solar is the ultimate in reliability. Accurate, maintenance-free, and ready for real-world use. This model also includes our highest shock resistance yet, with a reinforced internal rubber cage protecting the internal components against impacts. The dial is where things really shine. The C4 offers the strongest lume of any watch we've ever made. Instead of painted lume, the C4 uses 3D printed Super-LumiNova blocks, luminous resin markers that stand tall off the dial. They glow with incredible brightness, far stronger than standard lume, giving the user no problem reading the watch in darkness. To summarize, we have a 41.5mm bead-blasted steel case, flush 4 o'clock screw-down crown, sapphire crystal, a unidirectional 12-hour bezel, solar movement with shock protection, 200-meter water resistance, 3D Super-LumiNova blocks, the brightest we've ever produced. Now Reagan's gonna dive into the design details.
All right, now that Ryan's run through some of the key specs and features that set the C4 Tactical apart, I'm going to speak a little bit more to the specific design details behind this watch. So again, the main idea here was to make the toughest, most functional watch we've ever built, leaning heavily into the historical inspiration from the special operations pieces of the 1970s. It's very much a function-first design, but at the same time, there's a level of coherence and sophistication to it. We could have made it more modern, more flashy, but I think it's that grounding in the past combined with subtle, modern updates that make the overall design feel unified. The first thing to talk about is the bead blasting. This is the first Vaer watch to get a full bead blasted finish, and it does two things. Functionally, it cuts the reflections, which is key in the field, but it also creates this consistent texture across the case, bezel, and dial that really gives the watch a distinctive tactile feel. There's no shiny surfaces on this watch, which makes it feel like a piece of gear, not jewelry. The C4 dial is one of the most interesting we've ever built. Starting from the center, the handset is completely new, kind of a hybrid between a gladiator and a syringe hand. For the first time, we've painted the intersection black, which makes the lume trace pop, almost like they're floating above the dial. You'll also notice a lot of angular cues carried through. The numerals are based on the US Air Force font you'd see stenciled on aircraft like the F-16 and the B-2 bomber. It's subtle, but it ties the whole design together. The only break in the watch's monochrome coloring is a tiny splash of red on the tip of the second hand, just enough to catch your eye without overwhelming the watch. As Ryan mentioned, one of the most distinctive aspects of the C4 is the lume. In addition to the primary hour numerals, the C4 uses outsized rectangular 3D lume blocks set around the outer edge of the dial. At first glance, for anyone familiar with military watches, these might be mistaken for tritium tubes, the radioactive material that's been used in certain military models over the years, and that resemblance is intentional. We wanted to echo the same rugged utilitarian look, but without the complications that come with tritium. The reality is, importing and assembling tritium here in the US just isn't feasible. Tritium would require foreign production, mountains of regulation, and ultimately double or even triple the cost of this watch. One of the things that I really love about the C4 is just how the case lines flow. It's not just a flat-walled tool watch, there's movement to the shape, blending the geometry of the R1 Racing Chrono with the twisted lugs of our dive collection. The result is something completely new for Vaer, aggressive and functional, but still balanced on the wrist. At 4 o'clock, the crown follows that same idea. It's dropped lower for comfort, and the case itself partially shields it. It's not a full crown guard, but the way the walls slope and nest the crown means you're not going to turn it by accident. Flipping the watch over, the caseback was something I spent a lot of time on. Instead of a big Vaer logo, we left the center blank to allow for customization. Whether that's a squadron emblem, a unit logo, or a personal engraving, we've done a lot of custom work for military groups over the years, and this watch is set up to support that from day one. On the DLC coated version, the caseback is left bare steel. That choice was deliberate. It wears better against the skin over time and also means engravings can be added more cleanly. Around the perimeter of the caseback, we also added the NATO phonetic alphabet, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, etc. It's one of those small details that's a bit of fun, but also somewhat practical. I remember personally training as an infantry officer and always blanking on a call sign while working the radio, so I thought it would come in handy for other people as well. And for civilians, it's just a distinctive little calling card that ties this watch back to its military roots.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. You can check out our whole lineup and more about Vaer at vaerwatches.com.